Hi everyone, and welcome to my very first Let's Play. I decided to do this because in celebrating my 10,000 subscribers, thank you very much for all the people that have been watching me for all these years, so I thought of doing something new. And one of the few things that I haven't covered yet is the video games. So I was like, let me pick one of the video games, and I said, let me do the very first one that they ever made. And I decided to pick the Super Nintendo version of the MMPR game. It was released also on Sega Genesis, Game Boy, and Game Gear. Arguably, the Genesis version is probably better, but I chose the Super Nintendo one just for the sake of that's the system I like using the most. This game is not actually bad or anything, it's just, it's average. It's very much like, if you remember games like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games on NES and Super NES, it plays the same way. Also as Double Dragon, it follows the same, fighting side-scroller action game. The weird thing about the MMPR game is I always wondered why the Power Rangers logo was blue instead of green. NES had those weird color issues, but Super NES didn't have them. It's kind of odd. The game works on a password system, so you can skip between the levels if you know them, and you can play as all the main 5 characters. This cutscene was always weird. I mean, there's no dialogue, there's no text, there's no nothing. It just plays and we see Rita, and that's it. I mean, it's okay. The graphics are great for the time, but it's just like, that's all it is. Pretty much the characters play almost virtually the same, so no one has an advantage over anyone. You can play any of the characters. The cool thing is that each one has their own quirks, like different animations and stuff, so you can play each one, and then, the characters also have their specific weapons and a couple of abilities that are not in the show. I think I'll start off with Billy, but I do want to point out that they kind of put Jason in his pre-pilot shirt, which I thought was kind of odd. He never wears this kind of shirt ever again after the pilot, and also these red pants that I don't think he ever wore. And Trini never wore anything like this. The only characters that are kind of close are Billy and Kim, although he has blue glasses. And Zack is okay, except why does he have, like, giant lips? That's what I see from his pixels. Well, let's start off with Billy. Another thing that I also noticed was that the communicators are gold for some weird reason. And each character has like different quirks. Like, for example, when Billy punches, you can see he's trying to cover his head. You can throw characters. He does this weird somersault. You can't run, unfortunately. You can't dash or anything. You have to just fight. The putties are okay. I do like the actual different colored putties. It makes it a little bit different. The best thing to not do is to actually do those jumps like you see me screwing up, because the putties have knives, and that usually hurts you the most when you do the jumps. So the best thing to do is to do the punches or the kicks, or try to do the grabbing maneuver, which you just push forward and press one of the buttons. There's not much to it. There's just, the standard left, right, up, down, and, the Y or the B button are basically it. You can use the other ones. Nothing else really does anything else. You pretty much just fight mainly putties, but I think as the stages go along, you play more different type of characters, and eventually you fight some of the key bosses that were in the earlier Season 1, like Bones, King Sphinx, and a few other ones. And there's a couple of Megazord fights that are in between the levels. You can also just play the Megazord fights too by entering specific passwords for them, so you don't have to like skip them and just go to the levels and play through the level to get to them. This game was actually also released in Japan, which is kind of interesting. And the only difference really was that it had a sound test mode. Other than that, it was the same exact game. Now, we've never actually, used any of the Japanese games, like translated them and brought them over here. We always had to make our own original games. I think only because for the fact that you would see the Ranger cast mainly, but it was also because the game was on the Famicom, so it was already an outdated system by the time this game came out, so it would have been no reason to actually have the Famicom game or translated on the NES. Unfortunately, we do not fight Bones here. So the one thing I hate about that, you do get stronger, and you also have this ability called Bomb. It's just a special attack. Each character does specific things, like Billy is ice, although that would have fit more for Zack. I don't know why they gave it to Billy, I guess because he's blue. And of course you could see you can use his Power Lance, which does different things depending on how many times you hit. The only thing I really hated about the game is that you cannot control when you morph. In some later games, they actually let you control when you morph, especially the MMPR movie game. Sometimes the putties kind of remind me of the guys in Turbo. I forgot their names right now. Everyone's going to be yelling at me I forgot their names. I know I would have liked to have actually had different type of putty colors. It would have been interesting instead of the standard black or the Golem versions. Oh, yeah, I forgot. X actually activates that. You cannot actually get hit by the cars. I tried doing that a couple times. Like, why can't you go down or, try to pick them up or anything? No, the environments are not really interactive except for, like, throwing the bench. It's a lot easier to play the game when you're a ranger because you do more damage to the enemies so that you can survive more. The only thing I hate is that you don't have that underkick. So you're kind of basically stuck punching and then using your combo with your Power Lance. The only thing I really kind of hate is that the Rangers are all built, and that's not true in any of the shows. I really wish they didn't do it, but America has to do that. The cool thing though is that I'm glad they don't put the emblems on their shirt, on their chests. I really hate that on the promotional art for all the MMPR stuff in the early days where they did that. For a first PR game, it's okay. It would have been nice if it had more substance, but it's a Super Nintendo game, and they made this game way before they knew the show was going to be popular, because this was being designed very early on. Which is the theory why I think Jason had his pre-pilot shirt on, because they probably only had early designs of the show at the point. Fortunately, you can't block or anything. I do appreciate that they actually use the actual monsters from the show. They're kind of pretty much in order. Shouldn't have wasted that bomb earlier. It's a mistake on my part. Just gonna do the... yeah. I really wish he had a health bar. I never like it when bosses don't have health bars. I know it makes the game more difficult, but it's kind of not fair. Best game that I love with health bar is Mega Man, because you're both equally the same, so you can see how much you're damaging. 2 blocks, 1 block, 5 blocks. Perfect. With a health bar like this is fine, but it goes down smoothly and you can't really tell how much it took off. Just gonna do the dash. Ah. The game is surprisingly actually not short. I think you can complete the game roughly around 8 hours if you played straight. But the cool thing is it has the password system. It would have been better if it had a saving system, but it's a simple game, so I'm not going to complain. The goal here is just to break all of Bones' bones until you have his head left, which unfortunately I'm gonna die here because he shoots like the fireballs here like Dracula. I do like that they have the multi-power coin or the emblem, the tribe coin. Let's try a different character. Unfortunately, when you get a game over and you die, you have to start from the very beginning. There is no checkpoint when you get a game over. You have to restart the level. At least they had all 5 characters. It would have been nice if they had Tommy controllable. But I think that's only in the European version or one of the other versions. Again, I'm not sure exactly that you can take control of him somehow. At least they weren't missing Zack, like a certain Ghostbusters game where they constantly kept missing Winston for some particular reason. This also reminds me sometimes of the Simpsons video games where, you know, characters jump from windows from above and that. It would have been interesting if, you know, Zack could actually dance in the game. It would have been fun if he did. I'm not sure if the purple putties are stronger than the regular gray putties. I don't see really any difference. I think they just use different tactics. If people are wondering, I am using real hardware. I am not using an emulator. I prefer to play games on real hardware because I prefer playing with the real actual controller instead of using some sort of weird keyboard or rebinding keys to try to match the controller. I just wondered why they never actually do the correct power morph or hand gestures. I guess because when they did this, they didn't really do it in the show in early season 1. We never actually saw the gesture, so I guess they just thought of like whatever they could do. Stage 1, 2. Birds always seem to either drop poop or, you know, throw bombs. That's always seems their purpose in games. Notice that Zach's power axe is missing yellow on it. Got another invincibility. I actually like Zach's button combo. I think he does the most damage because he stays crouched to the floor, so you can just pretty much hit everyone. While like Billy's, he does the twirling thing, but he kind of has to wind up, so some of the characters can actually, you know, get out of there. Unfortunately, in the game, what thing you can't do in it is call the power blaster. There's no way to actually do that because the Rangers don't really interact with each other on screen all at once. I don't think you ever get anything from breaking the cars. They just blow up. Now, I haven't actually played this game since I rented it many years ago. I think around 1998. It was the last time I had ever played this. And I actually never owned the game originally. I only had rented it, and I just never bothered because when I was playing it, it was just, oh, we were already in space, like who cares, and this and that. And at the time, they didn't really make that many PR games at that point. I always found it funny that there was a Zeo kart game, and then the year later we had Turbo, which was the perfect place to actually have that. And then pretty much after the Super Nintendo era, I never actually bothered playing the PR games, because I always saw them as, oh, they're probably really poorly made and cash grabs. Very little time did I think, oh, this was actually a decent game where they actually tried. The only close game that I ever thought of playing was the Super Legends game back in 2007 on the DS. And the only thing that I kind of annoyed at is that they didn't have any voice characters or anything. That was the only drawback with that. I think some of the worst PR video games are probably the ones on PlayStation and N64. They were very poor. But again, if people really like me doing the Let's Plays on the PR games, I'll have no objection of playing the bad games too, because they'll at least let me experience all the bad games as well. And there are many PR games. It's not like they do them every now and then. Try the bomb on him. I never actually tried it with him. Does it work? Ah, it does work, so it's good to save the bomb on one of the bosses. So we cleared stage 1. Of course, you get your passcode. That always reminds me of Mega Man when he teleports. They kind of don't actually do the effect from the show. You do get to choose a different character whenever you go to the next stage, so I'm going to go to Trini. This stage always reminded me of something from Kirby's Adventure because it has the same type of background. Oops. A little bit of Mega Man 2 with this thing over here. You can't, unfortunately, break it. You have to avoid it. But at least the enemies can get hurt by it. Uh-oh, not a good idea to be here. Let's see if they can just keep going into it. Maybe they picked this type of level so it kind of reminds you of the episode where Trini and Kim were trying to, you know, get rid of the pollution in Angel Grove. It kind of reminds me of that, which is the reason why I like playing Trini on this stage. Oh yeah, these guys, I forgot they had shields. Sometimes I always pictured this place also as the warehouse district where the Dragon Sword always broke that smokestack. I always wondered why Trini's icon was orangey versus yellow. All the other Rangers have pretty much the correct icons. It's just odd that hers always looks orange. It kind of also looks like a Turbo Ranger character versus the MMPR. Uh-oh, not good. I'm not listening to my rules. Never jump when they have the knives out. They just constantly spam you. I'm gonna probably end up getting myself killed. Let's do some a little cheesing. So keep alive. Unfortunately, you don't really get a checkpoint. You're gonna, unless you can get to the morph part, which then your health recharges. And there's not that many health packs in the game, unfortunately. I'm gonna probably get killed here. Yep, there we go. There we go again. I gotta start from the beginning. Come on, get hit. Thank you. Oh, I don't know how I didn't get hit there. That was weird. Just got to be slow over here with these things. The music for the game is not bad. It's original music. It doesn't like heavily use the MMPR theme song, which, like for example, the Ghostbusters game, which is completely abused. Which all they had was the Ghostbusters theme song. Well, it's a great theme song. I don't want to hear it. The same thing if every level had the Go-Go Power Ranger theme song. It would have been extremely annoying. I do love that the actual theme song is on the main menu and also the soundbite when the guys sing the, the Go-Go part, which is not that common. Even in Super Nintendo games, they don't have actual voice files. Uh-oh. Careful. Ah. I wonder what this game would have been like if they had done it with the Season 2 characters on. So we had Aisha, Rocky, and Adam in them. It would have been interesting if we were able to swap between multiple characters. That's where a video game comes into play. It would be great. I know, we have all 6 characters, but then also them in here. White Ranger, Green Ranger. It would have been nice if they had a game that had just had all of them in there. Back to where I was up to. Let's kick him in the groin. I wonder why they gave him knives. It's like odd. In the show, they have those boulder fists, which they could have used. I guess they just didn't do enough research. Oh man, this is a little difficult. I'm doing little stupid mistakes. Yep, there we go again. I gotta be careful with this. If I could just get to the morph section. Wow, I'm doing dumb mistakes. I shouldn't be doing that. The difficulty does ramp up a little too much compared to Area 1. I never like games that they do that. I understand make it harder as you go, and the introductory level has to be easy, but some games just go from easy to super hard and then ridiculous like after a few levels. And I know common games did that, were the ones that were really short on NES. They did that just so that, oh, you could play the game for 10 hours and there was only 4 levels because it was that difficult for you to clear. I find the shield guys more easier to fight than the purple ones because they don't use the knives as often. The knives are like, they easily hurt you. The good thing, though, is that if they probably had made it so that you could transform whenever you felt like, they would have probably screwed that up and made it a limitation. Because they kind of did that in like a few games, if I remember correctly. Wolverine on NES, if he used his claws, they would damage him. They would actually damage his health. It was just to curb people from, using it and beating the game faster. But so I have a feeling if we were able to control when we used the Ranger powers, they probably would have nerfed it in here because the game overall is simple. I do like the animations for the characters. I do like Trini's hair flows whenever she kicks something. So they do pay attention to detail. It's always the same area. I'm always dying in the same area because these stupid purple guys. Wish there was a way to block. Oh, come on. I'm nowhere near the morph. I'm close, but I'm not near it yet, so I'm always afraid at this point. Just gotta stay ducked. Damn. Game over. Alright, let's go to Jason. I always wonder why it's rainbow. Jason looks the least amount of like Jason. I don't know, his face is just like there's no mouth on him. It's a little odd. No one has an advantage, like, Jason doesn't kick harder or anything. He does the same amount of damage to the putties. Finally got out of that area. Oh, I always forget about those things. I gotta remember. Jeez. Yeah, you just gotta cheese with them, unfortunately, because those stupid knives just do so much damage. Comes another. I wonder who's throwing that. Who is throwing that? Maybe Bones. Well, we defeated him, so it'd probably be the next monster. I can't remember exactly which monsters appear. I know King Sphinx and I know Bones, but I can't really remember anyone else. I don't know if Eye Guy appears. I know Goldar appears once. There's one boss fight with him. I wish those things actually hurt them. It's a little inconsistent. The laser things on the roofs hurt, but not the barrels. Alright, we're getting there, we're getting there. I don't know how that worked. Usually they start using the knives. Finally! Oh, right. I knew the troll wasn't here. I wasn't sure, though. But of course he goes away, and we have to fight the minions. Always save that bomb for the boss. Don't bother. Unless you're totally swarmed with enemies. It sometimes can happen. I do hate this, though, when you're near the edge of the screen. Oh, it was worse back when we were using old tube TVs. The area was so limited, so you would constantly be seeing the, never seeing the edge of the screen.